So I'm going to be doing my deck tech today for Sharuum of the Hegemon, my favorite general of all time. So I'm going to start the deck tech off with the general. So Sharuum of the Hegemon is a 6-mana 5/5 legendary artifact creature. She has flying, of course, and when she enters the battlefield, I return target artifact card from my graveyard to the battlefield. So very combo-y. Yes, very combo-y. So yeah, the whole point of the deck is the artifacts and getting them out and comboing off, or just killing them with big things that aren't really fair. So, catch my breath. Basically, we'll just go through the deck. I have it all sorted out, and at the end of the deck I'll tell you what I'm adding and what I kind of want the deck to be at the end of the whole process. So first we have our shocks. So we have Watergrave, Hallowed Fountain, God's Shrine. Good fetch targets. I also want the dual lands. Those will be, I'll get them pretty soon. Then we have the fetchers. I want all 9, but right now I think I have 6. So I have Fled Strand, Scalding Tarn, Bloodstained Mire, Polluted Delta, Misty Rainforests, and those are the ones I have right now. Hopefully getting the rest. Then we have Buddy Lands, so Glacial Fortress, Drowned Catacombs, Isolated Chapel. And then we have one Speedland, Triland, Command Tower, of course, Glimmer Void. This is a all land, so it's pretty good. So I'm gonna get the rest of these too. So the ruins and everything, and basically I'm gonna be a commander player. I'll play some modern. Standard I'm kind of out of. I just really like commander. So Reflecting Pool, it's a really good card for all my doubles and triples. Urborg, that's a good one. River of Tears. And under the utility lands, so I'll tell you what these do. So Reliquary Tower, we have no maximum hand size. Academy Ruins, we can just return, that's also a combo piece, return things to the battlefield, or to my top of my library, rather. And I run one Creeping Tarpet. That's my land. And my other mana land, Inkmoth Nexus. Then we have the 4 artifact lands. Phew. Then we run 3 islands, like 5 swamps, and like 5 plains. Alright, so that's the land. Now we're going to go on to the equipment. So Skull Clamp, so 1 mana, it gives it +1/-1 when it dies, or when it's put in the graveyard. Draw 2 cards. Good card. Darksteel Plate. Darksteel Plate makes things indestructible, and it's indestructible. Good for my non-artifact creatures. So I got my full complement of the 3 swords I like. I probably will get the other 2, but the one I want next is the Light and Shadow, and then probably the other one. Whatever one that is. Oh, Feast of Famine. Yeah, so I have Sword of War and Peace, Sword of Fire and Ice. So Sword of War and Peace is +2/+2. I gain life for my hand size, and they lose life for theirs. This is +2/+2, and whenever it deals combat damage, it shocks them, and I draw a card. And this mills them 10 to make a blocker, which is good. 2/2 Wolf. So here's the first part of a combo. So Disciple of the Vault. So whenever an artifact card is put into graveyard, target opponent loses 1 life. And I can instantly bounce Sharuum with copy effects like what's his name? Phyrexian Metamorph and Sculpting Steel. Baleful Strix, it's a good blocker, and I can draw a card. Well, I do, and yeah, it's flying. Suited Up and Beat Face. There's a new card I'm trying out, so Muzio. So I tap 4, look at the top X cards in my library, where X is the highest convert mana cost among artifacts you control. And reveal an artifact card among them and put it on the battlefield. So grabbing Blight Steel turn 3 or turn 4 is pretty fun. Or turn 3, it can happen. Scarecrow, so I can sacrifice or draw a card, or I can reanimate an artifact from my graveyard. So that works good with Forbidden Alchemy. Trinket Mage, my Trinket package is kind of low now, because the rest of my artifacts at 1 and 0 are coming in next order, which is actually on its way. So, yeah, so it's a 2/2 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, I can go grab an artifact with 1 and put it in my hand. So, like Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal. I took out mana vault. A mana crypt. I took a mana crypt. And yeah, okay. So we got Etch Champion. It's really good to put swords on this guy and bash, and he's a good blocker. Low Stone Golem slows my opponents down, and he's a 5/3 for 4, which is good. Here's a new one, Clever Impersonator. So I may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any non-land permanent, and yeah, so that's always good. I can make big creatures like Blightsteel and etc, etc, etc. Here's one of the ones. So this is a clone. I can pay with Phyrexian mana, and it's an artifact. Solum Simulacrum staple. Just go get land, ramp, and then throw them in front of a big thing. Fairy Mechanist is a flyer that I put like lots of equipment on, and when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 3, and I get a filter to an artifact, which is good. And I put them to the bottom. Aether's One Adjudicator is really good. So it will mortify something, and you can untap it for 5, and then it's 3 to untap and 3 to and a tap to mortify something. So this is basically like a Blightsteel most of the time. So go for Forge Master, so we can sacrifice 3 artifacts with a tap and put on an artifact card from my library on the battlefield. So that's pretty good. Thopter Assembly, so a flying 5/5 for 6 that if I have no other Thopters on the battlefield, it returns to my hand and put 5 artifact Thopters out, which works with Time Steve to give me infinite turns. Scaling Dimension is pretty good. It can't be blocked by creatures with power less than 2, and when it dies, I can shoot an opponent for 6, so that works good with the sacrificing. And that's a new card from F15. Woo! Wurmcoil Engine. 6/6 Death Touch Lifelink, and when it dies, I put 2 worms out with Death Touch and Lifelink. One has Death Touch, one has Lifelink. Here's the Constipated Sphinx, as we call him. So, flying, whenever an opponent draws a card, I can draw 2 cards, which is really, really nice. Shoulder the Whispering one. That is my favorite Praetor. I put her in here to get back some of my combo pieces, like Disciple Vault, because if she dies, I'm screwed on that combo, so she's a Swamp Walk, works to go with Urborg. At the beginning of your upkeep, I reanimate, and at the beginning of opponents, they sack, which is also removal. Mirror Battlesphere is pretty good, a 4/7, and I can turn to an 8/7 and shoot them for 4. And I can also draw a lot of cards with Skull Clamp on the little tokens it makes when it's battlefield. Ooh, Reaver Demon. This is one all my friends love. So, Reaver Demon. When he comes into play, if he comes into play from my hand, as for all non-artifact and non-black creatures. And most of my creatures are black or artifacts, so that's pretty good. Get back there. And he's a 6/6 flyer. That costs like a lot of black. Filigree Angel, so it's a 8 mana 4/4 flyer. When it's battlefield, I get 3 life for each artifact I control. Good at keeping me in the game. Sorry guys, I have a bit of a sniffle today apparently. Sphinx with a Steel Wind is a 6/6 flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, protection from red and green, which Nate and no one like to play. And it just bashes, put swords in that, and that's one of the ways I win. Another way I win is Inkwell Leviathan, so an Alamorph Trample Shroud 7/11. It's beautiful, and it's shiny, and it's an artifact. Woo, reanimation possibilities. And here's the, basically, if I can't combo, I just Blightsteel. Trample Infect, indestructible. And if it would go in the graveyard for anywhere, I shuffle it in my library. So I can't really reanimate it, but whatever. Rhystic Study is pretty good. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, if they don't play one, I can draw a card. Which is awesome. So, here's just the normal artifacts. I have a Chrome Mox for that acceleration. Soul Ring, acceleration. Mana Vault, acceleration. Voltaic Key, more acceleration. Time Steve, that's a combo piece. So Zach got 5 artifacts. Talked about this. This basically says when I was battlefield, copy an artifact. Thank you, Owen, for this. That was very nice of you. Oh, I have to trade for this. You're an ass. I could have just... I got a Mogus, though. Foily Mogus! Darksteel Ingot. Altered by myself. So this is going to be a Thran Dynamo. But I can just add one color of any mana. Oh, darn it! Oh my goodness. Oh. I think I got it good, guys. Chromatic Lantern. So all my lands tap for any color, which is really important to my deck because everything is so greedy. But I'm greedy. And it also is a Dark Steel Ingot. It's not indestructible. Crawl spaces really helps when Nate and Owen just hate me and just want to kill me before I can do anything fun. So no more than 2 creatures can attack me, which is good. Coalition Relic. I can tap 1 mana. This is going to turn to, what is it? Warm Power Stone. So, add 1 mana, or Grim Monolith. I haven't decided which one I want. Add 1 mana to your mana pool of any color. I can put a charge counter and get 2 mana. Well, 1 mana, and then I can tap it for 1. It's pretty good, but this deck runs a lot of colorless, so, you know. A Winding Clock is essential for this deck. Untaps everything. Even my lands and my artifacts. It works really well with all the monolith stuff. So this one's awesome. Gilded Lotus. Add 3 mana of any 1 color to my mana pool for 5. So it slows me down when I play it, but it accelerates me very fast. And it helps me fix. Here's one of the cards I'm really thinking about taking out. Ugin's Nexus. So it stops people from taking extra turns. That includes me, which can be a downside, but I can take an extra turn if I tap it, sack it, and go find that 1 card, Blade Steel, and it punishes Bane of Progress. So yeah, Mindslaver is a combo with the Academy Ruins. If I have enough mana with all my acceleration, I can just tap 4, sacrifice it, and I control people's turns forever. Spine Up Ishsaw is really awesome. It's a Vindicate, or almost Vindicate. And I can sack it and it goes back to my hand, which is good. It works well with Smokestacks, I think. No, well, it does for a bit. Chrome's Memorial. Creatures you control have Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Protection from Red and Black. This is just kind of like, I need to win. Give it to me. And then my last artifact, Darksteel Forge, so all my artifacts get indestructible. Woo! That's a good one. For 9, but I have enough reseparation. So here's my Planeswalkers. So Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, so he's a 4 mana, his +1's look at the top 5 cards of my library. I can grab an artifact and put it in my hand. -2 is I can make a cup, so to make an artifact 5/5, and -4 is target player loses X life, and I gain X life for X's and artifacts I control. I've used it a couple times, not really crucial. I have Tezzeret the Seeker, untap 2 target artifacts so I can accelerate even more, and I can also search, and all my artifacts become 5/5s, which is pretty good, as is -5. And then we have Karn, which is awesome. He's removal, and if I just want to troll, I can restart the game. And he also eats at people's hands. Dispatch is a Swords to Plowshares, a really good one, because I usually have Metalcraft, and I'll just exile a creature for 1, which is great. Swords to Plowshares, so exile target creature, its controller gains life equals to its power. I just, good removal. I like exile because they all like to make things indestructible. Cyclonic Rift just is like a blowout in most cases. So 7 mana, and everything that I don't control comes to my head. It's like a really, really good upheaval. So I used to run and abuse, but it's banned. Unmake, so it's an exile for 3 with no drawback, and it's actually one of my favorite removal spells in the deck. One of my few tutors right now because I need to get a Vamp tutor and a Demonic tutor. So I have a Fabricate, so I search my library for a card, reveal it, and put it in my hand, then shuffle my library. Forbidden Alchemy is pretty good, so we look at top 4, we put the rest in the graveyard and pick 1 out, and we can flash it back for 7. Thirst for Knowledge is a really, 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 really good draw spell, because I can draw 3 cards, and then discard a huge fatty, or I can discard Sculpting Steel or something, and then bring it back with Sharuum and combo off. Increasing Ambition is really good, because it's basically gets 3 cards out of your deck, which is amazing, and it basically can get a whole combo for me. Some of my Raspels, so Phyrexian Rebirth. So I destroy all creatures, I put an XX colorless horror artifact creature, which is awesome. Rex's number of creatures destroyed this way. It works really well if I have Darksteel Forge and I kill all their creatures and I get another artifact creature. Decree of Pain is definitely my favorite though. I'm going to put All Is Dust in this deck as well. That's also on its way. So that's destroy all colorless, or not colored creatures, or permanents. Who knows? Non-land permanents, I'll call it. Who knows? But yeah, so degree of pain. And we can also cycle it to -2. So that's pretty good. And I can draw, and they can't be regenerated. Very, very relevant. And draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. Blue Sun Zenith, I can just draw a stupid number of cards in late game. And it comes back in my library. And that's the deck. So I'm going to be getting some tutors. I'm going to use a little bit more Wrath, a little more Ramp, and the rest of the fetches and the duels, which are my next order. But I don't know if that's going to be before or after Christmas, because I have to get all my boys Christmas presents. And yeah. And top. I want a top. So yeah, if you have any suggestions or anything, any feedback, tell me. And until then, see you later, guys.